Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world. You are watching Now Media Television.
Hey, I'm Michael Rager, your business guide. We're back here on Biz Talk TV on all the Now Media television networks. Hey, we got a good friend, Roland Parker from Impress Computers. Roland, how are you today?
Michael, great to be back on the show and enjoying this lovely, cool weather.
Well, yeah, after what happened earlier in the week, it's been kind of interesting. Hey, so let me ask you this question. There's something I hear about all the time, CRMs. What's a CRM and why do we need it as a business owner?
So it's one of the most important things that a business owner is ever going to put as a tool to be in touch with their customers and their prospects. So CRM, what is it? Customer Relationship Management Software. And we see a lot of businesses, they start off, they might have their QuickBooks and they may have an email system, but it becomes a very inefficient way to deal with both their current customers and their prospects. Because let's face it, what is the most important thing that you want to do with your customers? You want to stay in touch with them, you want to schedule meetings with them, and then you want to stay in contact with your prospects. But as you get bigger, how do you keep all of that in one place without going crazy? And how do you communicate with now thousands of people? So that's where the CRM comes into it. And so let's have a look, and we'll start with keeping in contact with your current customers. Well, with your current customers, you want to be able to sort things out, see what opportunities you're working on with your current customers, and have an easy way to go to one place where you can have all of your communication. You might be sending them email tips about your business that's useful for them. You might be wanting to schedule meetings. So like with us, we schedule meetings on a quarterly basis. If I was to manually try and sit down and schedule that, it would take too long. But with the CRM, it's easy. We send out an email saying it's time to have your quarterly meeting. That's all automated. They then can click on a link. It links with appointment call, and they can schedule that meeting with us. It links to my calendar, so they can pick a time that's free for me and free for them, and that makes it easy.
Yeah, it's one of the things that, even me and my business, we're switching CRMs because we're looking to make things easier. Like you said, we've got too many clients, we've got too many prospects, and we have to continually manually go in and try to connect with them. It's hard. So what are some of the options that business owners have in CRMs out there in the market right now?
So there's, really, Michael, there's so many.
Yeah, there are.
And it's become more and more complicated. So we found a pretty good one for a startup company would be something like Zoho, where it's relatively easy to start. You can get plugged into it, and then there's got a lot of upgrade opportunities as you go down the road, because you want to be able to stay in contact with you're building up a database of prospects. But how do you stay in contact with them? First of all, you've got to build up that base. Then you've got to put it into some type of CRM, and then you've got to get their permission to email them, and then have a way to communicate without taking up too much of your time. And Zoho is a pretty good way to get around that, and it can also upgrade.
Well, can I ask you a question about that? You said something about getting permissions. And if somebody, I meet them out, I go to, cocktails, networking events, something, and somebody gives me their business card. Is that permission?
So if they're giving you their business card, I would say that yes, they're giving you permission, but I would still reach out to them and say, hey, I met you at this event. I'd like to stay in touch with you. Is it okay if I send you an email? Just to make sure that you get that double opt-in process. Because if somebody's just met with you, you've got their business card, you still don't really want to annoy people by to consider you as a spammer. And if you get blacklisted, your websites, it can take your website down, it can take your email system down. You don't want to be in that position. So you always want to request permission. Hey, is it okay if I stay in contact with you?
Yeah, I've had that. I actually had where my website once got blacklisted. I had no idea how it happened. And it took us about 6 weeks to get back up and figure out what happened. And it, as we talk a lot of the time, we start talking about malicious stuff. Today we're talking about actually how we go ahead and grow our business. But what are some other things that a good CRM system can help us as a business owner do?
So in addition with keeping all your contacts in one place, you can actually do things like set up your appointments, scheduling. An easy way, if a prospect lands on your website, they can click on a form, fill it in, and then select a time. Hey, I want to know more about your business. And that'll automatically schedule that with you. And then you've got all of the information flows that will go through that. So you can actually start putting in, if a customer wants, if he clicks on this, send him that. If he opts out, take him this way. If he doesn't want any information for a while. So it's just that whole information flow that's going to make your life so much easier and to stay in contact with both your prospects and your customers.
Well, it's one thing we were talking about earlier before we went on camera is you got to make sure you got a good assistant that can do that, because you don't want to be doing that as a business owner, do you?
And you really want to work with somebody who knows your CRM. So you need to get with them, get a Sherpa, get it set up correctly, because boy, once you start getting in depth into those CRMs, it can get really deep and really complicated. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're just going to get lost. So staying in contact with your customers, reaching out to them, keeping all of those sales opportunities, because you want to be able to get an opportunity, put it into your CRM, and follow it through to its completion. And if you don't have those flows set up correctly, if you're not able to quote correctly and then set the appointment and then follow that through to the conclusion, all of your opportunities are going to start getting lost, because you just lose them in amongst everything else that's going on with your day.
Well, if you see my desk, you know where it's lost. It's sitting in that big pile of business cards that I haven't put into my, the old way we used to do it, right? Business cards, throw them into a spreadsheet, put them into here, and hope you remember to email them, right?
And if you're just keeping, spreadsheets are great to get an overview.
Yeah.
And most CRMs will allow you to export to a spreadsheet, because sometimes people find, well, I've got all this stuff in my CRM, but I still want to visually see everything that I've got. And you can export, you can put people into different verticals that they're in. And you say, okay, these are the construction, this is engineering, these are my CPAs, and I just want to look at CPAs. I just want to email CPAs. Or you might have something relevant, like the storm that came through, and say, don't forget you've got to have things plugged into a UPS, or disconnect everything from the power until the storm has passed. And you've got to have an easy way to say, I'm going to send 5,000 people that I've done business with or potentially done business with a good tip on how to protect themselves. And a CRM is going to be able to do that at a blink of an eye.
Yeah, that's one thing that I look at is how do I group, because I don't want everybody to see everything that I'm sending out email-wise. And we just left one CRM and we had groups, new one, we got a tag. And it's a new thing, and it's just learning new verbiage and new nomenclature. So if people want to get a hold of you, Roland, how do they do that? And how are you going to hook them up with CRM systems?
So the best thing to do, give us a call, 281-647-9977, or reach us on the web at impresscomputers.tech, which is IMPRESS computers.tech. And we can just sit down with you and give you some advice on what CRM to look for and what's the best platform to make sure that everything's backed up and how to protect your data.
Well, that's great information, Roland. Thanks a lot. So I'm Michael Rager, your business guide. We're going to be back right after this.